Hi, welcome back to SIDEKICK TV with your host, Alan Woodman. That's me. And now I want to introduce you to a guy that I have admired for many years. I've worked with him. I first met him on the set 1996 on the set of Mercenary. Great action film star, kickboxing champion, all around pretty nice guy. He's pretty laid back. Olivier Gunnar.
Hello.
Hey, Olivia, thanks for coming to the show, man.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I should tell you, this is our third attempt to get him on the show. First attempt we missed, the second attempt we missed, and third time we had it. Third time's a charm, right? That's what they say. So go ahead, Olivia. Tell us where you're from. Tell everybody, that who doesn't know you. Obviously, you've been stuck in a hole somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Paris. I did my school, in my education there, and then I went to the French Alps. And I was in the Navy for a while, and I did some special forces,
work
missions and works.
We can't tell people that. That's secret.
I have to kill you. No. All over the world. I mean, we were based most of the time. The French were in Africa, in Middle East. So we were Djibouti, Somalia, Dakar, all over the world.
Right.
Doing some different things.
How'd you get into martial arts?
Well, it's an interesting story. First of all, when I was in, my father's a surgeon, my brother's a surgeon, so they're all educated, and I was kind of in a cocoon, because we don't see a lot of violence, where I was when I grew up. And suddenly I went to school, and this is where things started. So I got beat up, I got bullied a little bit, and I got beat up, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna have to start training. But in the old days, we didn't have gyms like we have now. We couldn't even go and lift weights because that was specifically for people who had problems with their
really
yeah, so we couldn't even lift weights. So karate was a big thing, Shotokan, and the kickboxing was starting, but it was still not accepted in Europe, it was more like a violent sport.
Right.
Boxing was, which is interesting, but kickboxing was not. So it took me a while, just to I started learning karate first, Shotokan.
See, I knew. See, he did real martial arts. See, that's what it was.
But the main thing is like having the best instructor, and the instructor I had was excellent. It was a guy who was in Sarafel, which is in south of France, and he trained a lot with the Japanese. So he used to go all the time. He spent a lot of time in Japan, which is really important because the discipline and everything they do is so precise. It's a different way of living.
I think training in the culture that it was initiated in is a really big important part of anyone's martial arts training. If you're doing Muay Thai, then go to Thailand. If you're doing Kung Fu, go to China. If you're doing Filipino arts, go to the Philippines for a brief time. Or you're doing Japanese arts, go to Japan. You got to check it out in the culture that it's from. I think it's important.
It's like BJJ. Go to
that's
Brazil.
right. Go to Brazil.
They're excellent. So, but anyway, so finally it was accepted in Europe. So I trained with Valera, which he was a champion at that time.
Okay.
And he trained with Bill Wallace. He trained with Jess Smith. All the top guys in the world at that time. And most of those guys came from the U.S.
Right. And then now how did you did you go directly from that basically into kickboxing? Because a lot of people do not know he is a kickboxing champion.
Yeah. So what's interesting is the karate. I was limited because I didn't want to train with another instructor, which was not as good as this guy.
Right.
So I didn't want to. So then I moved to the Alps, and then what happened is I met a guy who used to do kickboxing. He was a Europe champion, and he was living in Switzerland, which is very close to where I was.
Okay.
So it was still, like 3 hours or 4 hour drive, but it's not a big deal, So I used to go there and train with a guy, starting training with him. And then I started to get pretty good, I won a couple, I think 2 tournaments. And then I decided to go back to Paris, and I trained with Valera, which was one of the top guys in Europe. Actually, one of the top guys in the world, actually. Yeah. So that's why it started.
Champions breed champions, don't they?
Well, I'm going to tell you something very important, I think, for the audience. Guys, and this is the mistakes I've done in the entertainment, okay, between my martial arts and the entertainment.
Right.
The entertainment, I never went with the best. I didn't. That was a big mistake. So he kept me where I was,
yes.
at that level. Now, in martial art, it's different. I always go with the best. And I was not ashamed to go with the best and train with the best. And what you're going to do is you're going to become so good at what you do. So if there's a guy, like example here, I train at Dragsdale, really good school, excellent school. I went to Randy, of course. I went to different places here in Vegas. They have excellent instructors. And you want to train with the best. So just Eric Paulson also in LA, really good.
That's why he's come to train with me. See, I don't know if you knew.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I forgot we have cameras.
Yeah, that's right. We got 3 of them. Yeah.
And remember, I'm a professional. I chew gum, number 1, and number 2. Look at that. I got a green shirt over the green screen. That's smart.
So now, how do you remember how many fights actually you did?
Well, 21 to 24. Exactly.
21, 24 fights.
Yeah.
And who was your hardest fight? Can you remember? What was your best fight, or the one you liked the most, the one you enjoyed the most? Nobody enjoys getting hit, but no.
Yeah. Well, I think all the way to the final of the World Championship. I think it's and what I did is sometimes especially the first fight of the tournament, I was fighting and then suddenly the guy is down. I didn't know which kick hit it. I didn't know if it was the left or the right. And the reason for that is because the way we were training with the French team was a combination, and we repeat that combination over and over for hours and hours. Like, I don't know how many jabs I throw, in my life. I mean, it was thousands and thousands and thousands. So, and I think it's a Japanese mentality, really, just to really train one movement. You don't need to be so fancy. Fancy is great for the audience because remember, fighting, especially if you fight in a ring or the cage, is still a show. If you don't make a show, it's boring,
That's right.
So you can be very conservative, and that's really for the street fight. But if you want to be a showman, you got like Muhammad Ali was excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, he was fun to watch. He was great. Mayweather, the same thing. I think these guys are really show guys, and it's really enjoyable to watch these guys.
Yeah, I was with Floyd a couple weeks ago at his box promotion here in Las Vegas. He's a great guy. Took us all out to dinner, which is great when you're, dining at the most expensive place in the city. It's great when he's picking up the check too. So that's always the better part. So thank you, Floyd. Appreciate that. But yeah, so training with the best and doing things with the best people is really important. It's really valuable. You can train with mediocre teachers or substandard teachers, and that's what you're going to get. I think that's my personal opinion.
I'm totally agree. Now, who's the best? I mean, who do you classify the best? Now, because everybody is really good at what they do now. There's so the level of training is way higher than it used to be.
Well, everybody in these days is a master and a grandmaster. Great grandmaster.
There's great grandmaster, right?
Senior great grandmaster.
Great grandmaster, the great master.
And did you not hear? There's the one guy that actually calls himself the Pope of martial arts. Now.
Oh,
I'm not even kidding you. Where's the papal hat and the whole deal? I
just keep my white belt. I'm okay with that. I don't
We're
care.
good.
They call me sandbaggers. I think the best thing is like when you show up in the gym and nobody knows you, which is great, and you show up and then. They have kind of an attitude, and then suddenly you show what you do, and like,
the attitude
that
disappears.
The first kick hit me.
That hurt.
Let's see about the second one. Boom. Oh, yeah.
So I myself, I got to train with some great teachers: Masayama, Hiroshi Sato, Joe Miller, Walter Todd, just amazing people, and everything that they've taught me. I try to keep and I try to pass that on. We were talking last week, as a matter of fact, about simplicity of motion, and I think a couple of my instructors really instilled that in me. So I don't move as much these days, and which is good when you get older, so you don't have to.
Yeah, and when you are older, guys, it's very simple. You look at your email, and now you have diapers things, and then what else?
That's right.
Burial thing. This is what I receive
He used to get the emails for the hey, for a sexy date or a sexy time, call me. Now it's just emails for adult diapers.
I swear to God, I just received one here for a diaper. I was like, oh great, thanks.
We're gonna cut away for a commercial. Come back to us as we're gonna talk more with Olivier, and we're gonna talk about some of his movies like The Chemist. And what's the newest one? Executive Protection and Mercenary that I worked with them. Join us right here at SIDEKICK TV. We'll be right back.
Master Ken here.